Hello and welcome everyone to our first Tyria Weekly, newly created show by me and McCheeze, who I'm also joined by tonight. This is our new show about Guild Wars 2, one of our most anticipated MMOs of this year, or since a long time at least. But yeah, like I said, I'm here joined by McCheeze. Hello, sir.
Yeah, hey Ozzy.
How are you doing today?
Uh, yeah, what am I not doing? Trying not to be freaked out by a big assignment that's coming up after the weekend,
Oh,
which incidentally is colliding quite badly with the beta.
yes. Gotta open up our
So,
schedule. Beta. As you can see
yes,
here, they have added a little counter that Guild Wars has on their site. It's less than 24 hours from now. When you're watching this video, probably like 10 hours or something. So, pretty exciting stuff. I'm
oh, it's
excited.
so exciting. Yeah. It's crazy, man. We've just been talking about this game for years now. I mean, it's they showed this game for the first time so long ago by now. When did they show it? It's years ago.
I think they announced it in 2010, I think.
Oh dear God. Is it really only 2010? Can that be
Or
true?
2009. They announced it pretty late at least. But you have to
Okay, it
remember that
feels like a long time.
it was gonna be fluent release after the last expansion pack of Guild Wars 1, Eye of the North, that they would go into Guild Wars 2, but they decided to just completely revamp the whole game because they wanted to do something different. And here we are, what is it, 5 years later or something, since that release. So,
Actually,
it's,
it seems like they actually announced it back in 2007.
oh yeah, they announced it, yeah, but
Yeah.
they showed the first footage in 2010, I think.
Yeah, of course. It was a bit, I don't know, I played the first Guild Wars a little bit and it wasn't really something for me. I didn't like it as much when there were other MMOs that were more open world, more free.
Hmm.
So I'll admit that when I heard about it for the first time, I was just, yeah, all right, sure, whatever.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I think haven't given that game as much time as I wanted to because I bought that game and I played it, but I didn't like it. I don't know what, but I just didn't, and I think I was playing WoW at the time already, so I just went back to that straight away because I was
Yeah,
just addicted
exactly.
to it. And I'm
Exactly.
kind of sad because I hear a lot of good things about Guild Wars, especially like the story and PvP has been really good. So it's kind of sad that I never got the chance to actually play it. And you
And
know,
now they closed our accounts.
yeah, yeah, that's
when we tried to play it a couple of weeks ago, yeah, that was bad.
yeah, it was quite bad. So for everyone that's watching, you probably know what Guild Wars 2 is. It's a game in development uh, by developed by ArenaNet. Um, the same people that made Guild Wars. I don't think they have done anything else because they started out as a small group, mostly ex-Blizzard employees, and they wanted to do something different, and they created ArenaNet, and they went from there. And now there are like 170 people working in that place, working on
Yeah,
Guild Wars 2.
they have made Guild Wars and all the expansions, and then Guild Wars 2. That's what they've been doing really.
Yeah,
Uh,
but they're a
so
very independent company actually. I think that's really cool because a lot of people associate it with NCSoft, but they have very little to do with NCSoft. You
luckily, I don't like NCSoft that much,
no,
but
me neither. Um, I do believe that one of the founders, I'm not sure, don't quote me on this, that one of the founders of ArenaNet actually works for NCSoft now, and that's why they have so much space to do things themselves and like make the game as long as they want to perfect it, because they've spent quite some time already. It's been a long time. People are very anticipated, and but it's coming out this year as far as we know. And we
yeah,
get to try it this weekend, so I'm really excited.
it's gonna be cool. I mean, it's odd because where I have looked, I only heard positive things about it more or less. It's always people saying, okay, so I was a bit skeptical going into this, but now I'm just totally convinced, and that's been the same everywhere I've looked pretty much. And it's not even like interviews with Guild Wars 2's developers or anything.
No.
It is actually just game journalists and players that have been saying that.
Yeah,
But
exactly. It's really hard to find something negative about games. Like when they announce the cash shop and stuff, people, people are skeptic, and there's a few things that people, that they may improve on, but not even that necessarily bad, like improve things. But the response of the players, like in closed beta and stuff, it was just extremely awesome to see. And
Yeah.
but there's a lot to consider, because this game is going to do a lot of different things when it comes to the MMO genre. So I'm excited to see how it actually works for myself.
Exactly. That's the cool thing. So mostly with all the MMOs that's been coming out for a long time now, they've been doing a few things different. They've been adding a few new features, and then they're like spread to other MMOs and stuff. So, but this game is doing so many things different.
Yeah, indeed.
And that's more or less going to be the topic for this first podcast. It's just going to take a look at the features that Guild Wars 2 has and how they're doing it differently from everybody else, because they're really making some great changes.
Yeah. It's like you said. Many different many games have tried it different in the past. Like Dungeons and Dragons Online tried to do a bit more active-ish combat. Same with Age of Conan, and then Star Wars: The Old Republic came with personal story, which was really good. But the rest of the game was, and I'm sorry to say that, pretty much World of Warcraft in space. And a lot of people will hate me for saying that, but it's true. But I wouldn't, not just World of Warcraft, any MMO before Guild Wars 2 is the same, pretty much, at least the Holy Trinity games. And then you have Rift that was the first one with dynamic events, which was awesome. That they did a really good job on those dynamic events, but then they still add those static quests along the line, and it was still, end game rating, and that, like, for an old school WoW player, that just didn't do it for me. It didn't do it to
But
switch over.
it makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, it's always risky to just make a few new things. You're trying to take what you know works, and then you're adding a few things that you think will improve the genre.
Yeah.
But to totally take everything that exists and say, nah, that doesn't work.
Yeah, times have
That's a
changed
big
a lot,
step.
because it started with EverQuest and stuff, and those games and Ultima Online, those games were very heavy RPG, because that's where the interest was. People wanted that depth in the game, but spending all that amount of time. But as World of Warcraft came out, it got a lot more streamlined along the way, because people found out that they want to have more enjoyable content, more fun in less amount of time spent. Which makes a lot of sense, because a lot of people, let's be honest, have lost jobs, failed school and whatnot because of these games. And I think it's really time for something that will give you a challenge, but it's also really fun to play and also very accessible. Like, you can jump in and out whenever you want. And Guild Wars 2 seem to be doing a pretty good job, at least on paper so far. So yeah, it's exciting.
And it's also one of the, like you said, WoW has been very streamlined, and it seems like in many ways that Guild Wars is trying to go a bit back to the beginning, just making the world very big and immersive, and trying to perhaps keep UI a bit at the minimum and stuff, and so make it actually a huge world you're going into, instead of just a bunch of small systems you're going into interact with.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very excited to see how it all works out.
And PvP in this game sounds just epic. I'm a guy that, well, same as you, has played WoW for like 6-7 years, and I've never been much of a PvPer in that game, because I spent so much time in PvE, and when I want to do something, I want to do it well, and I didn't have time for PvP, and I just didn't enjoy PvP enough in WoW to make me last, because you were so dependent on having a healer with you, and in Guild Wars it just seems like you're more you have control over yourself. You need to keep yourself up with heals and dodge, and you have a lot more space to actually be good without being dependent on someone else. And
Yeah.
and the whole world versus world thing is just oh my god, that looks so awesome. I cannot wait to get into that.
Yes, it looks. But what I like the most about the world versus world is, well, we should be just take now we are talking about this world versus world. Should we just explain what this is real quick so
Yes.
everybody is on the same page?
Yeah.
So world versus world is how it works in Guild Wars 2 is that you don't have several factions on a realm. A realm consists of one faction, so everybody's on the same side. But what they're doing is then to put different realms up against each other. And in a world versus world scenario, what you have is 3 different realms that will be fighting against each other in a huge instance zone, which basically consists of 3 keeps. So each side have their own keep,
And,
and then they
and by
have.
huge, you mean huge. Don't think like Winter Grasp in World of Warcraft. Think
No, no,
like a
no, no, no,
whole
no.
freaking zone. It is
We are we are
immensely huge.
talking. Yeah, it's going to be crazy. It really, and it's not just a big castle. You'll also have small towers and forts, and you'll have
Smaller
like farms
objectives.
and yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So the thing is that, well, okay, yeah, you have those 3 great zones, and you have a zone in the middle, which is where most of the fighting will probably take place. So the thing is that all these 3 factions in the World vs. World is then fighting each other. So basically, the idea is that it will have to. If you only have 2 factions, the problem is that one side is a lot stronger than the other. They will just ruffle stomp the other, and there'll be no competition at all.
Yeah.
Which is incidentally the problem with some of our battlegrounds from time to time. But if you have
But
3 factions,
I would also just like to add that they have a system in place to balance that out, because your server will be placed in a tier of a list, which how good you did in the past. So in the beginning, it will really be unbalanced, and the good servers will really stand out and will rape other servers. But it will balance itself out, because you actually get placed against other servers that are in the same tier as you in the end. So it will actually be quite balanced.
yeah. But as I was saying, you also have this thing where if you have 3 factions and the 3 realms will always be competing against each other. There'll be like an overall scoreboard. So it will be natural for the 2 faction placed the lowest on the scoreboard to be going for the one placed the highest. So in that way, it will kind of always balance itself out, because you'll just be hitting the one that's placed the highest, that has the most resources.
Yeah, and also it's not just like an instant part, like an option that you can do. It's important, because when you have a certain amount of keeps and points in the week, you actually get PvE buffs in the world, and you gain certain rewards, and uh, you will be notified, and you can always jump in whenever you want if your guild needs you, whatever, and uh, you can they talked about making free mobile app that you can see how your server is doing, and you know
Yeah,
always be
that's so
interacting.
great.
So it's so interactive and so social, the way that whole system worked. I think they've really put a really good thought to that.
It's gonna be great, and I really hope that it will work, and that it will like keep the server together as a great community,
Yeah.
because we have this common cause you're fighting. You're not fighting each other on some other faction on the server or anything. No, everyone is actually together in this.
Yeah. And then Guild Wars is not the first, or ArenaNet is not the first to do this, because if you've seen our Evolution of MMO series, we played Dark Age of Camelot, and they actually had World vs. World vs. World, but that was based on the same server, because there were 3 factions on every server, and they were against each other, which can cause some really problems. But Guild Wars does this 3 servers against each other, which will make balancing a lot easier. And I think that's just a great idea.
Yeah, yeah, I'm all in for it. I'm really looking forward to that.
While we're speaking about servers, by the way, you can actually uh, become a guest on another server if you want to. I read about this today, actually, and you can just hop over to your friend's server and play there in PV. The only thing that you can do on that server is World vs. World, because you're tied to your own home server where you originally created your character. And if you want to actually switch your character to the other server, you need to pay gems, which is the store currency, so you need to pay money for that. And
Okay.
it will actually take a while for you to be able to world PvP. You need to wait until the week is ended, and then you can actually join. So they actually really thought about it, and I think that's cool.
Yeah, that sounds great. I mean, I don't mind. It's not something I use that often because mostly I'm playing with my friend in a realm and then I'm meeting other people there. But a few times I've had friends playing in different realms. It would have been cool to just be able to jump over there and say, okay, let's do something together. Because let's face it, starting a character from scratch is a pretty huge task in
Hmm.
most games,
Yeah,
at least.
yeah.
But on the topic, that is also something Guild Wars is trying to fix, right?
What? Sorry, I didn't.
The whole problem with the level difference.
Yeah. Um, when you jump into World PvP, you can jump. You have basically have to do this intro of your character when you create a character, which will take like 10-20 minutes or something. When you're done with that, you can hop straight into World PvP and it will be leveled up to level 80 with all. No, you don't get all your skills, I think, but you get up to
Well,
level
I think
80 and
it's close, right?
what is close?
I mean, you're not going to you're going almost up to max level, but not quite. So you'll not be as powerful as a
No,
max level guy. But
because you have to remember your gear is still different and your weapons and you don't have all your skills yet because you're still leveling up, but you're as a level 80 with your health and stuff like that, so you have a better chance of killing people that are actually 80 already. But
yeah, okay.
if you go into structured PvP, this is a whole different aspect of the game. So there's structured PvP, which is basically a server browser where you can do quick match with your friends or just for fun. Uh, you can do 5 versus 5 ranked PvP, and you can just hop into that straight away as well. But you'll be actually level 80. You get all your skills and all your traits, and you can just go in there and do that if you want to do that. If you are into like just PvP, and you just go do that all day, and that's fine. They're pushing it to be an esport, and I think that this game has a big chance to do that.
I guess it could be. I'll be interested to see how it'll work out because I think those arena mode combat always have some problems being a good esport. But I mean, you've seen stuff like League of Legends and Hero of New Earth as well. I guess actually doing quite well in a competitive scene.
Yes.
So and they have more players that it can be hard to keep track of. So I guess why shouldn't Guild Wars as well?
Yeah, but League of Legends is also a bit more self-reliant when you play yourself. Like in World of Warcraft, it's really hard because the Holy Trinity system, it really, it makes that balance in PvP quite hard.
Yeah.
And whereas in Guild Wars 2, the Holy Trinity is just like put to the side, and you're just, you can still do some healing, but you cannot just heal constantly because your skills will go on cooldown and the heals will not be that effective. You need to dodge, you need to self-heal. But it's all about teamwork in a different kind of way with class combinations and that kind of stuff. So
But
it's
one of the things from what I've seen so far from earlier beta events is that you don't kill players as fast as you may do in other games. I mean, it actually
yeah,
seems like players can stay alive a lot longer,
yeah.
which means that hopefully the arenas won't just be some kind of crazy rush job where you just go in, nuke one guy, and then you're done with. It
No,
actually
no.
may be some proper fights you'll be having.
Yeah, I've seen some 1 versus 1 and stuff like that, and they take a while. If you have two skilled players against each other, it will be some epic fights that you're gonna have. And I think that's excellent because that's has always been a problem in WoW. There are a few classes that just rape you if they have the proper gear and you know.
Yeah, yeah. And to be honest, from what I can tell, I mean, we've been playing some different MMOs. WoW doesn't even have that bad PvP
No,
balance,
no,
actually.
no.
So,
No, it's just that the game is very gear dependent. So if you hop in
yeah,
as a new player, you get your ass raped and
it is. And scaling have been a problem in the later expansions and all that. But
yeah,
I mean, we've seen some other games where scaling between classes is just horrible.
yeah. But just speaking of scaling with levels and stuff, PvP is not the only way that does it, because if you are a level 30 but you are in a level 20 zone, you get scaled down to level 20. Uh, which I think, like, why don't games do that more often? That is such a good idea because there's so often that you just level through content and you want to go back to the other quests, but you're just one-shotting everything, and it just
Yeah.
completely sucks the fun of it. Whereas now you'll be challenged because you get down. Still, sure, you will have more skills and stuff, and it will be easier than the actual level 20, but you know, you still need to dodge and stuff because your health will get put down and all that. So
Indeed, and again, this is based on the footage we've seen so far, because, well, we basically don't have anything anywhere else to draw any real conclusions from. But it seems like you will also that mobs will actually be hard to fight out in the world. You will face challenges
yeah.
on your own, and also when you're in a group, there'll always be challenges for you to do. And that's great. That's exactly what we need.
Yeah, and it's also just you don't follow a static quest because there are no quests except for personal storyline. There are no quests. You go into the world and there are events around you that happen, cause and effect. Centaurs will attack you and you either drive them away or they'll overthrow a town. And if you see, like in Total Biscuit's video, he was playing in a level 23 area when he was level 30. And you don't even realize it, but you're just having fun exploring the world, and you don't even care if you're in a lower level content because you're just playing the game. And I think that's an amazing design choice right there.
Yeah. Why should you totally discard? I mean, that's been the problem in every game, I guess, every MMO so far. Which MMO in the regular sense with levels and stuff, that you will outlevel stuff, and in some ways it feels good when you're going back, you can just smack stuff and it dies just when you're looking at it. That's fine and all, but it also means that like 90% of the world or more is just there, but you won't go there because why would you? There's nothing for you to do there, and when you're going there, you can just face roll everything.
Yeah.
So it seems like this will be a way for you. You can actually go back and keep doing some challenging stuff, and perhaps there'll be a zone you haven't been in before, and it's a low level zone, but you can just go back anyways and see whatever is going on in there.
Not to mention that leveling also will be a lot more fun as well.
Yeah.
Because you can just go to different areas that you may have not been in. And I actually saw on Gamebreaker TV today that they have a team in place which they call a live team, which is going to work on putting out new dynamic events every week. They have a system. They have a system in place where they can shift those things out and in without like a static patch, without like a big patch every week. It's just a thing that will happen like minorly, like things will phase out and the new ones will come in. And I thought like, yes, that is awesome, because I was actually wondering about that. How do we do that? Because at some point, you know, not fast, but at some point you'll have done all the dynamic events.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. And I'm not a person that likes. I don't like playing alts that much, especially not in World of Warcraft and stuff, because you go through the same quests, and I always hate it. But in this game, I think I will be creating quite a lot of alts.
That sounds awesome. I didn't knew they were going to do that, because I thought that, like you, well, okay, we're going to have all these dynamic events and that's cool, but at some point you have tried them all and it's just going to get boring. But that's great. That's awesome.
It's really good. That's really good. But yeah, but then there will be instances as well. There's one thing that you know, there's no raiding content in this, and a lot of people, especially that came from EverQuest and all those raiding games, World of Warcraft, there will not be like instances for more than 5 people. And at first I thought, oh, that's kind of lame, but you have to remember that it's different. If you go into a 5-man instance, you're with 5 people, with 5 friends, and there are 2 different modes. There's an explorable mode and there's a story mode, and you have to do the story mode first before you get the explorable mode, which is kind of like a heroic mode. And there are several different versions of the explorable mode as well. And I think that from what I've seen, at least from the video, that content is actually pretty hard, and it will be actually kind of fun to do that with just 5 people, I think. Because you can just take your friends. You're not dependent on like, ooh, we need a tank, ooh, we need a healer. No, go with 5 rangers if you want to, or with 5 thieves. You should be able to do it. Not as optimized, maybe.
As long as the class balances are right, I guess, and the content isn't too difficult, because it's, I don't know, it's hard to say. That's one of the things I'd love to try out this weekend, to see how difficult it actually is, and how the balance is, because I mean, you still may end up in the same situation as many other games right now, where you can't just take whoever you want. You will still have to, bring some specific guys to be able to do it.
Yeah. And that's also great with the dungeons, by the way. You get scaled down, so you'll never miss out on a dungeon. Whereas in World of Warcraft, you always, when you were leveling, like, ooh, I'm level 20 now, I need to go do this. Or I'm level 30 now, I need to go to Scarlet Monastery because, you know, my quests are there.
Yeah.
Whereas now, like, oh, I don't feel like doing instance, I'm just going to level ahead and then come back later and still be able to enjoy it.
That was actually a point I was going to make before, that this game seems to be scaling a lot on many different ways. So they can like scale players down in level, they can scale them up in level, they can scale content to the amount of players that are there and everything. So they
Yeah,
have a lot
dynamic
of different...
events will be scaled to the amount of people that are there.
Exactly, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So they have all these ways to make sure that the game is always challenging. The only problem, of course, is does it work? I mean, does it actually keep being challenging? Because I think
Yeah.
it's a pretty tough job to be able to scale things, so it feels difficult no matter how many you are, no matter what level you are.
Yeah.
I'm really interested to see how that works.
I'm also very interested in, like, they said that they're going to have dynamic events that are going to be dependent on 10 people or more, like the big dragons videos that you have seen.
Hmm.
And it's going to be interesting to see, because how is that going to work? What if more of those are happening at the same time, then I guess it will be fine. But if only like one every once in a while, then people will be like, ooh, that one's up, and everyone will rush to it. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I wonder how that's going to work, how they're going to balance that out.
Hopefully there will be enough different events going on at all times.
Because that was in Rift kind of a problem, that there's so many people there. But it was epic at the same time, but it was also, you know, 100 people on your screen is not very fun at
Yeah.
times.
Um,
But world
but
events, I
actually,
am all for it, because they were really epic. Every instance got introduced with a world event in Rift and stuff like that, and it was just amazing the way they did that. Bosses were spawning in all the zones, and it was really cool. So I'm looking forward to see how ArenaNet is going to implement that.
yeah. I mean, hopefully players will be like spread out in all over the world in the major cities and whatnot. So
Hmm.
so you won't have that big a problem. But it's hard to say, yeah, for sure. Um, and that is one of my main concerns, I guess, with the game is actually the lack of end game, if you will.
Hmm.
I mean, you have the dungeons and that's all cool, and you have all this content you can go and do, but if you're not really getting anything from it, how long will it be interesting to do?
Yeah, that's a good question. But I guess it depends on how, because they also, I read that they have they're working on stuff for many years to come already. They're already working on that in the background. So I guess just adding more instances, bigger dynamic events, and more stuff to do in the world, I guess.
Yeah, I hope so. But it's just if they can. I mean, there'll always be the world versus world, which is something that you can keep doing because if nothing else, then for your server, which seems to be like it's the overall objective, right? That is to fight for the server, and then you yourself is like in second place.
Yeah.
Um, but still, I'm a little bit concerned if there'll be enough to do and if it'll feel cool to like keep coming back and doing random doing dynamic events or whatever. That's. But
Yeah.
yeah, I know they probably have a ton of ideas, and otherwise they will surely be listening to feedback as well. But we have seen how some games, WoW in particular, right now is losing subscribers because it just isn't enough to do. The game gets rather boring quite fast when you hit max level.
Yeah. Not to mention that, you know, but you have to think differently with Guild Wars 2, because it's not about endgame. It's about playing the whole game, because it's gonna be the same sort of experience during the whole game. Whereas in WoW, it's like leveling and endgame are two completely different things. You just
Yeah,
level.
I
The
know,
game
but
is really easy while you level, and then suddenly you hit max level, and then suddenly like bam, no, you can't do this because you need gear. No, you can't do that because you need more people. No, you can't do this because you need tank and healer. And suddenly the game becomes really small and like static
but
in such a way.
sometimes it's a good thing to have like some blockers. That means that you can't just go do everything. You
Sure.
have to like earn to be able to raid or whatever, earn your spot in the raid. Because
I guess
if you
it's
can do everything, you just risk that it just gets trivial rather fast. And I mean, I love the fact that leveling and stuff is hopefully difficult at all times in Guild Wars 2 because
hmm
that's the worst feature in any game is to have easy leveling.
Yeah,
It's
but
no.
yeah, go on.
No, yeah. It's just leveling is supposed to teach you how to play the game, and it's
Yeah,
not like
no.
you should just be strolling through, no problem, and then you hit end game, and it's just gonna be face to the wall. That's not the
Well,
point.
also you can choose to do a bit higher level content if you want. I mean, you can probably go 20 levels ahead, but in WoW, for example, if you kill a mob that is red to you, that means 3, 4 levels above you, you will not kill it. Probably you will probably die while leveling. And
Hmm.
in Guild Wars, this game is very skill dependent. Uh, if you can dodge the mob's attacks, you should be able to kill it. It will take you a bit longer, but you will be able to do it by yourself. So that's gonna be interesting to see how that will really work.
Yeah, it is. Because again, if you can take down foes that are too big or too far ahead, will then be trivial to kill mobs on your level and all that. There's a lot of things.
I guess there's gonna be a huge difference between bad and good players, especially like in the explorable mode and stuff, and in dungeons.
Yeah, probably, and that's fine by me. And I hope the content will feel difficult, and I hope that ArenaNet will not give in if people are complaining.
Yeah, that's very
Because
important.
really, if just keep the content difficult from the beginning, and then let people learn as they level. Then dungeons won't. If you're used to mobs being a bit difficult when you're leveling, and you have to keep track of a lot of things going on. You're responsible for your own survival and all that. Then hard dungeons probably won't be as big as of a shock for you. But,
Yeah.
um,
But we haven't even touched the personal story, by the way.
no.
I,
Yeah, that's
that
just
just it's
going.
that like we said earlier, or I said earlier, that that's the only static quest that you have in game. This means like talk to this dude and go to that. It's not your choice what you do, you follow it. But it's based on your character, what you do in the beginning. So I think it's based on either your class or your race. I can't remember which one it is now. I think it's your race.
It's
Or your,
also based on your race at least, because from your
but
race you have different starting areas,
yeah,
different starting quests.
yeah, and it's based on like what choices you make. Like, if you worked in a circus, or did your sister die, or those kind of options that you do while you create your character. And I think this is very cool, different as well. Like World of Warcraft, you get in and you're the hero, or you start as a nobody and you like help out here and maybe you'll become a hero. Whereas here you are already a known person in the game because you fill out some information about yourself and you're known in the game already, which seems interesting. And I guess that's how they can keep content flowing as well. Keep evolving their personal story and maybe do some cool stuff with that we haven't seen before.
Hmm. I'm just trying to figure out how many combination there was. I think I saw a number rather recently, and it was a staggering amount of different stories that you could end up getting just based on the few choices you made in the beginning.
Yeah.
I got a number right. No, where did it go? Got a number right here that says that's from May 21st, 2011. But this says there's 7,047. No, God damn it, that's not. I don't even. That was it. There was a crazy amount of different personal storylines you could follow based on those informations you put in.
Yeah, crazy.
But I
They
I've
did a very good
lost.
job at that, like the whole voiceover and you know the videos that I've seen as well from the voices in cities and stuff, the background. That I can't wait to find that stuff out by myself. But yeah, there are 8 classes in the game. Yeah.
Yeah, you tell me. I'm totally lost in that regard. I've tried to like read up on a lot of the content, right? But the classes is one of the things where I really I've just
Sorry,
lost it.
professions, not classes.
Oh, damn it! Yeah,
Gotta get that one out of your brain. Professions. So there is the warrior, the guardian, and engineer, which are all heavy armor, I believe. Then there is the ranger and the thief, which are medium. And then there is the elementalist, the necromancer, and the mesmer, which are light armor. That makes 8. So, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
and you get different weapons in game that tie different abilities to your hotbar. You get 5 abilities on your hotbar on the left side of your health bar and then 5 on the right side. The 5 left ones are all determined by which weapon you're using, and you can weapon switch between 2 weapons in game, so you have 2 different weapon sets, so that will make 10 different abilities per class. Unless you're an elementalist, then you cannot weapon swap, but you get 4 different attunements: earth, water, fire, and electricity, I think, and that makes 20 different abilities. And then
Luckily, that doesn't sound complex at all.
and the right one, on the right side of your health bar is your heal, your self heal, which you have a few different versions of that you can unlock, and then 3 different trait skills, which are dependent on your class, and then 1 elite skill, which is dependent on your race or class. And the way you get those abilities is by doing an objective. There, when you open the world map, you will see different areas with like where you can earn a skill point, and you need to talk to the NPC, and you either need to fight him or you need to do something for him, and you earn a skill point, and then you can spend it in that. And then there's another layer of your profession which is called traits, which are basically like a sort of talent tree, which will enhance certain abilities, or like the deeper you spend into a certain tree or line, whatever you want to call it, you gain either like power or more healing done or more protection or whatever. And the active abilities are like, or they enhance your abilities, and like passive, like 5% extra crit to XX blow or something like that. So it's really fairly complicated. Or not complicated, but it's really deep, and you can do a lot of different combinations. So you can be more supportive, more defensive, more offensive, more stealthy, and you know, I think it's pretty cool looking. Personally, I have no idea when I want to play it. All these professions actually look really awesome, and I keep saying that I want to try the thief, but in my mind, I kind of want to go elementalist because I'm a sucker for caster classes, and I tend to go for them. But I don't know. I think I'm gonna try a few out, but I think I'm gonna start with a thief just to mix things up, because it just seems so cool how you can like use your guns, go in stealth, and come in with daggers, and you know, just that sounds really cool. What about you? You have made up your mind? Guardian, I heard you talk about.
Yeah, it's probably going to be the Guardian. I like a class that can be versatile, right, and provide some good support.
Yeah.
So
Some
Guardians are supposed
professions
to be
will
able
be
to do
better at
that.
support than others, but everyone can support or heal a little bit or whatever. But some classes will be better at certain things, or professions.
Yeah,
Sorry.
and
Go on.
that's just my impression that Guardians will be pretty good support.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. It's hard to tell. I don't think I'll go a class with a pet for sure. I'm not a huge fan of those in
No, me
OP.
neither.
Um, but to be honest, I hope I have no idea how many beta weekends they'll be having, but I'll probably start out with the Guardian this weekend at least. Hopefully, I'll have time to play a little more than just
Mm-hmm.
one profession. But then start with the Guardian, seeing okay if I actually like that, then that'll probably be my character when I start Guild Wars 2 when it's released. And then I'll try some other characters later in other beta events and see. Okay, so I will, and then if I like one of those more, I'll just go and try those.
Mm-hmm.
But but yeah, we'll have a look. And of course, one of the things, as you've just the trade system and talents and all that, it's one big jungle for me right now. So that's definitely one of the things I need to look into during this
Familiarize
weekend.
yourself with. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's gonna
exactly.
be.
Just to get a bit of an idea of what's actually going on and how it works and all that.
But you know, when we talked about everything right now, I think the thing that I like the most about the game, how they simplify everything along the way. It's not like, you know, go talk to this trainer, blah blah, to train your skills. It's like you earn your skills on your bar by using your skill. So you use your one skill, and then you see this slider on your second skill that goes up, and then you suddenly unlock your second skill, and you learn that along the way like that. And when you pick up a new weapon, you have to start over with that weapon again, and it just the simplicity of like everything, the UI, and you know, not having like 15 bars with skills on them, like and you use like 1/16 of them or something
Yeah.
actively. I just
I actually,
I think that is a really cool design choice that they have going on.
yeah, I actually like that idea that, okay, you have a ton of different skills, but they're bound to your weapon, so you can only use a small amount at the time, because that it kind of keeps it, well, firstly, it keeps your hotbar from getting flooded with different abilities. And it also means that it's probably a bit easier to balance how each class will work with the different weapon sets, and you can make some interesting rotations and combinations of skills for each weapon and stuff. I think that sounds cool.
And that just makes sense because you get like 5 abilities bound to one weapon, and they make sense. Like if you use a dagger as an elementalist, you have to be close up because you're using daggers. And if you use a staff, you have lots of AoE spells, but you're more from range and stuff like that. Like in World of Warcraft, as a thief, you have a bow, but you don't really use it. And here, if you're a thief, you equip your bow and you suddenly get 5 skills that are range skills.
Yeah.
And that just seems that blew my mind the first time that I read that. I thought, oh my god, why has no one ever done that before?
Yeah, it makes sense. That's the best
Utilize
part
those
of it.
weapons, like oh, I have a dagger, but it doesn't matter. I put the same enchant on it, and it just hangs beside me, and I cast my spells that I usually do.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So I just hope that it won't take too long to learn new skills when you get a new weapon, right? Because
it's not
we
really. I've seen
okay,
videos, and
good.
it's really not.
We all know that feeling. Hey, I got this new weapon, and now I just have to spend 10 hours
Oh.
leveling up the weapon, right? We don't want that anymore. No thanks.
Also, underwater weapons. A small thing, like, I'm not a huge fan. I don't think anyone really liked underwater combat, but the way they have got going on, I think it will be interesting. We'll all have to get used to it, I guess, but it certainly sounds interesting, and I'm very cool. I find it very impressed, and I find it very cool that they're trying to tackle that problem. Because underwater combat is usually very pretty, but like in WoW, you go through it once and like you kind of avoid it on your next character because it's kind of annoying.
Yeah. It's true. I hope it will work. I hope it will work and feel well, because it sounds like they have put a ton of work into underwater combat and
Underwater dynamic events and stuff all gonna happen.
yeah, exactly. And underwater dynamics winds shoots underwater areas and stuff. So yeah, there'll be a ton of stuff to do underwater. So I hope it feels good. I really hope it feels good.
Yeah, but
Uh,
you will not be slowed down. You go the same speed as walking, and your skills work. And not to mention that every ability is usable while you're walking unless it's a channeled spell. So casting spells, you can use it while you're walking, and the same with swimming, and that just makes for such more active combat. It's gonna be.
yeah, yeah.
I've always
So
hated that
that
in WoW, that you needed to stand still to cast. I always hated
combat
that so
is
much.
is just a whole other episode almost, just that alone, because yeah,
Yeah,
there's a ton of stuff there. Um, Hopefully, I mean, I have a pretty good idea about how the combat's going to be like, but I'll know way more when we are done with this weekend.
I think like in my mind, I'm already like, oh, I'm gonna dodge and do that, and I'm gonna be really good. But I think I'm gonna fail really hard the first
Mm.
hour at the game because you're not
Like
used to
any,
having a dodge button and dodge to the side. You're gonna stand there statically in front of the map, maybe like strafing to the side a bit or something, but that's it. You're
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
you're gonna not remember that as fast.
It'll be the same with all new games, more or less, that you'll slowly learn, and then when you're good at the combat and you know how that works and stuff, it will just work. You'll do it automatically, more or less. You'll know exactly how to do, and then you'll start to learn other things. That's true for most games.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
um, what was I thought I had a good point like a moment ago. Oh yeah. So we talked about this underwater stuff and all that.
hmm
One of the things that I am actually looking forward to the most is the world. This huge world where there'll be no flying and no nothing, and you have to go out there and explore it, and you'll have a dynamic events, which means that there'll more or less always be something to explore, if you will. You'll always be something to find. But you have these kind of mini dungeons, right? These explorable areas, these hidden areas which you can go and explore, and you can find bosses or treasures or whatever in there. That
Yes.
sounds epic.
I think the games are starting to go away from that way too much, like the exploring Ultima Online, EverQuest, World of Warcraft. It was very important in the start to
Hmm.
explore and find quests yourself and do things yourself and find things out. Your hand was not held the whole way through. Maybe in this beginning, but then you're like dropped up in this world and you could do whatever you wanted. Granted that quests were static in places, but you know, you could find stuff and like, oh my god, that's so cool, and you know,
Yeah.
that doesn't happen anymore. After WoW got revamped, it's just like follow this path and you're max level, and then yeah, you can start doing whatever PvP raid, do whatever instance version of the game you want to do. Whereas here's
Exactly.
like,
Yeah.
here's the world, you go explore, find dynamic events, you know. And I saw like the Yogscast, they were at this place and everyone was like doing the dynamic event and they were like, let's go in the water here. And they went in the water and there was this huge cave and then suddenly they swam through that cave. And by the way, I have to mention that there's no breathing bar in this game because you get a face mask. Everyone gets an automatic face mask. But they got they got out on the other side, and it was just huge cave inside with like these people that lived there, like these pirates or whatever they were. And you can just only imagine the amazing stuff that they can do with that. Like just going where you want, not being stressed out. Because I'm a person that very much strategic in my head, like, oh, quest point there, and I have to like, ooh, I have to pick up those quests over there, and then, ooh, I can't miss that because it's important. And then you get kind of forced between areas where you go to, whereas here it's just like, you know, stay here, go away,
Yeah.
whatever, help me out or not, it's your choice. You're not gonna...
I feel exactly the same, and that's going to be one of the big changes, right? That there's no set path for you, and there's nothing like you have to do, all that stuff, and it's very, very open and free world for you.
Nah.
Um, and of course, there's the risk that at some point you will have explored everything, but I hope that the world is big enough that it won't be the case. And if you're, so one thing, if you are kind of equally rewarded for going to and exploring all the different hidden places, then hopefully I won't have to look up guides to find different stuff on the internet, because I mean, if there's just this one hidden location that's so much more, that drops so much better items or whatever it might be, right?
Hmm.
Than anywhere else, then I'll have to look up a guide to get there, because I need whatever it is you can get from there.
Yeah.
But if all the places are equal, then I may as well just go and find them on my own.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
because there's no doubt that there'll be a ton of guides to finding different locations or whatever, and they'll be up shortly after release. The online community, in general, online communities are so well organized these days. It takes no time.
No.
So I hope that part will be fresh for at least a long time.
Yeah. And you know, puzzles in the game that they're randomly there that you can do, and all that stuff. That sounds awesome.
Having played like Dungeons and Dragons, I'm really looking forward to that, because it's cool to have something. You don't just go into a dungeon to kill the end boss. You go into the dungeon and you find out, okay, there's some extra quests in this dungeon I have to do, or some extra things I can do, and there's traps and there's puzzles and all that. It's great.
Yeah, and like in the first dungeon that they showed, Ghosts of Ascalon, Catacombs of Ascalonian Catacombs. I can't remember what the thing is called, but like there's not like a button to open a door. No, there's a pressure plate, and you can either stand on it, and the door opens, you go off, the door closes again. So you have to pick up this boulder, put it down on the pressure plate, so the door stays open, and stuff like that. That is just pure genius. That games need to have more of that. And traps out of the wall, like that you need to disable, and all that stuff. That's just, you know.
And again, this is a thing you just said. You can pick up a boulder. You can pick up all different kind of things in the
and
world.
Use them as a weapon as well.
Carry it and use it as a weapon. Oh god, that's
brilliant.
A whole other thing again.
Yeah, it's just fucking brilliant that what they thought of everything. And just the whole social aspect of it, because the whole game is built around play together. You do not have to be in a group to kill the same mob, because everyone gets individual loot constantly. You don't have to be in a group to kill a monster. You don't have to, you know, be on the same quest. If your friend comes online who's 10 levels below you, like, oh, let's go quest, and you go to him and you go do dynamic events in an area that is appropriate for his level and enjoy the game rather than, oh, sorry man, I'm in this quest line, I can't come. And I think that's just awesome.
Yeah, totally. I hope it all works out.
Yeah.
Please let it work.
I know I hype myself up, but I've been disappointed by games in the past, but I think I'm hoping that this will be good. If they pull this off, then there's a big chance that this will be the biggest MMO at some point after a year of release.
Goodbye everything else, yeah?
Yeah, but like, WoW will not die. I mean, that's just silly. It will still have
No.
it will always keep like 7 million players or something like that.
Thank God it won't. I mean, I still enjoy it from time to time, and I'll probably get Mist of Pandaria and
There's room for it.
as well and all that
People
stuff.
like raiding, and people who like raiding with the Holy Trinity system, and there are those people that will keep playing that game. But it doesn't mean there isn't room for Guild Wars, which is a free-to-play game. So
indeed.
Yeah.
I mean, WoW is still a great game and has a lot of features, and I still think that Mist of Pandaria is looking promising from a feature standpoint.
Besides the pandas. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Pandas, man. So yeah, they can definitely live side by side. I think there'll be plenty of room for people who want to do the Guild Wars style of gameplay and people who want to do the WoW style of gameplay.
Yeah, definitely. So one thing we haven't touched on is crafting, sir.
Oh dear, yeah, that's right. Crafting is also one of the things I'm not that into.
I don't know a lot about it, but I believe you can have 2 crafting professions. It's good to note that everyone can gather everything in the world without any professions, and all those notes and flowers are specific to you. So if you're together with your friends and you see like, ooh, a mine, I'm gonna mine that, it doesn't disappear because you can mine it as well.
Yeah.
Oh, we've seen it before.
So amazing.
In some other games, but it's amazing. Also, I'll quickly mention is color dyes in this game. Yes, color dyes for the win. But crafting, you can have 2 crafting professions. You can max them out, and then you can drop one, go another one, max that one out, and then if you want to go back to that previous one that you had, you have to pay a certain amount of gold, of course, but then you keep all the recipes and all the skills that you had for it, and like the level that you leveled it to.
Yeah.
Which sounds amazing. And there's little things like, I saw if you are smelting like 50 copper bars, for example, the slider will go like this. It will go, the first one will go normal speed, and then the second one, according to how many you have, the slider will go faster and faster until in the end, like it goes like, so no more like waiting 20 minutes to smelt your bars and stuff like that. Small stuff like that, just excellent. And like you can combine certain things in your inventory to like find new recipes and stuff like that, and I miss that from like World of Warcraft, like the sense that you are achieving something yourself rather than, oh, click learn this and then level quick, and then, oh, I'm a max level, now I can actually make stuff that is worthwhile. Well, you know, I'm not quite sure how it's going to work, but it sounds very interesting.
Yeah. Crafting is also one of the things I'll have a look at, but I don't think that's top priority for me actually.
I'm not a big crafting person myself, actually. It's always been a side thing, but
I don't mind if it's actually something that you get, if it's worth putting your time into. I don't mind doing it at all. It can be pretty cool, but I haven't really ran into games with a great crafting system in quite a while. So I'm skeptical, and to be honest, there's so many other things that sound. Why, Ozzy, please? Why? What's up with the burger?
It's a McCheeze.
Oh God, yeah, I know. You Google McCheese, you find that stupid McDonald's thing. Yeah. I'm trying not to be associated with that at all.
You just did. Everyone who will watch this will associate with you with that. I'm sorry, I had to do it.
So whenever I get myself a proper webcam, I'll need to have a burger on my head.
Yes.
Look like a bloody retard.
I saw that people had that, so you definitely need to have that.
Yeah, okay. That's one of the things we can talk about later. I'm not a huge fan.
So we pre-purchased the game, both digital
Yeah,
version.
that's
No,
the
no, not
best
digital. Sorry,
way to get it.
normal version. Sorry.
Yeah,
We wanted to go for
the
collector's
best
editions
way to
first,
get
but
into the
it's
beta.
kind of expensive, and that was not even a problem. But I don't know. I just went for the normal one, and because I don't know, I just did that because the digital deluxe was just not enough for me, and collectors, I don't know. The statue is cool, but the rest, the art book is cool, but how much are you really gonna use it? It's cool to read through once, but that's it. I'd rather just buy it loosely at some point maybe or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
yeah, same.
what are you looking
Um,
forward to the most to try tomorrow? You sit behind your PC, you make your character, you get through the beginning. What are you gonna do? Personal story? I think I'm actually gonna leave the personal story.
no, yeah,
I'm not gonna
I'm
touch that.
fine with the personal story, but to be honest, that is one of the things I'll get to see more or less no matter what when I'm not that interested in the personal story. I think it's a cool aspect of it, but that's one of the things I'm the least interested in actually. What will I do? I don't know. Go out and check the world out. Check, see how does it look. Find some dynamic events. Find out how they play. Learn my class.
World versus
Try to
world.
figure out all this. Yeah. Well, oh, don't even get me started on World vs. World. That is
Uh,
something I definitely want to try as well. But
uh,
there's so many things. But at least figuring out how the game plays. That's probably how does animation? How does it feel? How does the combat feel? How does
very
my
very
class
important.
play? How
Yeah,
does all
yeah.
that?
A lot of
Yeah.
games put me
That
off
that's
because of the animation and because of the non-fluidity. But as far as I've
exactly.
noticed that it doesn't have it, but I'll have to see for myself to actually believe it.
Yeah, exactly. So that is one of the first thing I'm going to do. That'll be my focus.
Yeah,
Aside from that, as we said, World vs. World, right? Maybe some crafting system. Maybe just see whatever else in the game that we may have forgotten about just
yeah,
now. I mean,
yeah.
um,
But that's just it. I think I'm excited about Personal Story, but not as much as the rest. But I'm gonna just leave that because I want to experience that when the game comes out. I think, and I'll just spend time in it then. And
yeah,
I just want to go into the world and do whatever and enjoy it. It's gonna be
exactly.
awesome.
And you probably won't be able to judge the story anyway just by playing a bit of it tomorrow. So, yeah, I'll leave that. But everything else I can get my hands on, more or less.
Yeah.
Uh,
But yeah, people can you can expect us. We're gonna do some videos. But we're mostly gonna focus on playing the game ourselves because we really just want to play it, and we're gonna record stuff in the meantime that we find interesting without live commentary. We're just gonna record whenever we see something interesting and enjoy the game ourselves because we really want to spend our time ourselves to see what we think about before we can actually do those live commentary movies. Um, Hopefully this game will be good and we'll be playing this for a long time to come and we can actually start doing those live commentaries and keep the show running and stuff like that. That's at least something that I want to do, but that all depends on how good the game is, of course. But you can expect some stuff next week. We'll add some footage together and do some commentary on the background on it and give our personal opinions and stuff like that.
yes, yeah. So it's two things, right? One's just small videos from the beta that we want to show off,
Hmm.
things that are cool or things that we just want to go through and stuff like that when we are just playing. And then of course another podcast around the same time next week where we're just going through the experiences we had and talking about how we are looking at the game by then. Because right now we're both hyped about it and hopefully we'll be just as hyped next week. But that's going to be interesting.
I have to say this. I think I've hyped myself about Rift and stuff, but there are different kind of hypes. I think because of all the changes that they're making, like everything that I've thought of while playing World of Warcraft that I think they should change, Arena is trying to do different and trying to fix, and it sounds good. And I
Hmm.
haven't felt this exciting about a game since, or an MMO since like the beginning of World of Warcraft. So I really hope it's gonna be good and not break my heart because then what am I gonna do? I'm not gonna go back to World of Warcraft. I think that's just not gonna be an option. But I think
Then
this
you
game
can
will have a huge
play.
impact nonetheless. I think are gonna have to go a different route. Free to play, dynamic events, personal story are all huge things that need to change in games, and I think Arena will either, if it's good or not, it will have an impact no matter what.
Yeah. It definitely will. Surely it will. I mean, it's doing so many things differently, so some of the things will be done right. And again, from what I can, 22 minutes, 22 hours, yeah.
Yes.
From what I can tell, they're going to do a lot of it right. So other games will learn. And I think actually most of the great companies that are having their own MMO right now, they will probably be keeping a really close eye on Guild Wars 2 to see
Oh
how
yeah.
players are,
Oh yeah.
what players are saying.
Yeah. But yeah, the Lord of the Rings Online movies will come after this. This will have priority coming up. Very excited to do the show. We'll be doing one next week around the same time. We don't have a set date. We probably will do a set date at some point if it gets some more views and regular viewers. Then we can think about that. But for now, we'll just do it once a week, and whenever that is, it's whenever we have time because we have personal lives. This is not our job. Uh, we don't get
Sadly.
money for it. So, you know, but next week going to be our personal experience. And we're going to talk about the beta weekend and therefore. So be looking forward to that and other videos. So hopefully we get to push out another evolution of the MMO series and maybe another Trine episode in between. Well, we'll have to see what we have
Yep.
time for or not. But yeah, 22 hours, 43 minutes and 15 seconds till beta weekend event. 9 p.m. GMT +1, so Europe, and in noon in the US. So yeah,
And it
see
will
you
end.
guys in the beta, I guess.
Indeed, we will. See you, everyone.
See you guys.